I'm going to teach you something about multifamily that even the banks themselves fail to overlook and never get it right until you educate them. This is extremely important for you affordable housing investors that want to make immense profits in the affordable housing and multifamily sector. One of the big things that we've done is we've de-amenitized our apartment complex, okay? And so follow me here because I'm going to, at the end of this, show you the net operating underwriting where we take the net operating income, we underwrite it where I show you the de-amenitized value and then the amenitized value, and then you yourself can pick and choose which one is the most advantageous when you're going in and you're underwriting the value of an asset. Now, one of the bankers called me up the other day and he said, "Hey, Jerome, the underwriting team is very concerned that the rents that you're getting are not going to compete with the rents that are on your pro formas," the pro formas being the performance of other assets that are already built, stabilized, and what they're getting right now, because you don't have the same quantity and quality of amenities. And I said, we have the same quality of amenities, just a different quantity and different types of amenities. So what we do is we take out the big clubhouses, okay? The clubhouses just become a big external office for the sales team where they make coffee, take breaks. But if you go into most where there's an alternative and a caveat to that, where there are some tenants that do use some of those amenities, but very, very minimally. So if you land up putting in like a clubhouse, for sake of example, you have 250 doors. How often do you see more than one person in that clubhouse at any given time? Mainly the sales staff. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of square footage. It's a waste of construction costs. But that's not the most important. Yes, it costs more to build that, but what people fail to remember is that it's the stabilized expense of running that asset. Think about it. There's electricity, there's heating and cooling. In the summer with the heating, a lot of times if you're in a cool area, there's gas, there's lighting. Then you have the amenities like pool tables or whatever other amenities you have in there, plus the coffee, plus the cleaning people that have to come in once a week and clean the restrooms, the building, the vacuuming, the mopping, the dusting, all of that stuff, plus the maintenance that goes on in there. And so what is the overall cost of maintaining that clubhouse? Now, swimming pools. Yes, there's a cost to putting them in, so there's an expense in the beginning, but it's not the expense in the beginning. Again, if you keep that pool heated, there's gas that runs every single month. There's electricity that's running all the time. There's maintenance to pools. You guys ever owned a pool? How many of you guys have ever owned a pool? If you've owned a pool, you know what I know because I've owned pools and their work. And there's maintenance to them. If you hire somebody to do it, there's cost to that. And so that in itself lands up adding to your expenses and taking away from your net operating income, okay? Now follow me here when I say that. It adds to your expenses, which reduces your net operating income, okay? Now, we go in, we remove those type of amenities. We put healthy lifestyle amenities where we do dog trails and dog run areas because they're not as expensive to maintain, very simple. We do artificial turf. We put in some of the urine enzymes in there. Plus, we put in the little doggy bags and trash cans, which maintained with the people that do the blowing, the cleaning, and weekly maintenance on the landscaping, which adds almost nothing to our landscape maintenance because they're already blowing and cleaning anyways. And it's all based on the overall square footage, not just, hey, you have a turf area that never has to be mowed. You have minor expenses to this stuff, okay? We put in stretching stations and healthy lifestyle amenities, maybe a little bocce ball court and stuff like that. Now, when we do this, ladies and gentlemen, we go in and we reduce our overall liability in regards to expenses. Now, when you go in and you educate the bank, here's what you have to remember. There's two variables that the bank is looking at. They're looking at the gross rents that come in, okay? So they're looking at the price per square foot and the overall rents. Okay, you have to be careful because if you're underwriting this, what appraisers look at is they look at what is the expenses to run this asset. Okay, they're looking at that on pro formas. And so if the pro formas say that it costs 40% to run those assets, then you're going to be in the same underwriting parameters as everybody else, even the ones with swimming pools and clubhouses and all of that. So you have to tell them, hey, I'm building an affordable housing complex that really reaches out to the attainable affordability of the average working class professional. That's the teachers, the firefighters, the service workers, all of the service workers, the people who work in the city, the county, the road workers, all those guys and gals, they need a place to live, okay? Now, they can go to like Planet Fitness and they can get themselves a membership for $25 a month, the black one, right? The gray one. They can go in and they can use a community center and get pools. Now, we remove those amenities. You ever see a swimming pool on a Saturday at an apartment complex? 2 people, maybe 3 at most, 200 doors, 400 people living in that complex, and there's 2. That's less than 1% of the apartment complex that's utilizing the entire swimming pool facility at any given time. Hence, not worth the value. Might be a great sales component, but you know what else is a great sales component? Slightly cheaper rents. Yes, will reduce your gross income, but it's not the gross income that depicts value. It's the net operating income. So what you do is you take your gross operating income, all the income that comes into the property, okay, and you subtract your expenses. Key component, expenses, okay? Now, let's add up a few amenities. One of the things that we do is we've had architects that always try to do these closed corridor areas when you walk up the steps. And when you do that, if they're closed, think about like Phoenix in the summer, or think about someplace like California, anywhere in California, with the exception of Northern California and San Francisco. Like, you know, they say about San Francisco, the coldest winter that you've ever spent is a summer in San Francisco, right? But if you go down south and you're going into like Palm Springs, or you're going into like Nevada, like Las Vegas, for God's sakes, imagine like a closed corridor in the middle of the summer. It's freaking hot. And so you have to air cool it, right? So there's cost to the air conditioners that run that. And now you have a closed corridor. Who's going to clean that? Now you need a maintenance person also clean that. So you have capital expenses on the heating and cooling system. You have monthly expenses to run the electricity to keep those cool, plus the lighting, ceiling fans, venting, return airs, all of that stuff, okay, which comes with filters. Now, if you just do an open corridor, you call them a breezeway. And even in those hot areas, it actually, when you go in, maybe you put a ceiling fan up because you have lighting anyways, but what does a ceiling fan cost to run? You know, $2 a month? Or would you rather go spend $1,300 to $1,500 a month running air conditioners in that area, okay? So let's say that you have an air conditioner, and let's say your net operating income for that property annually, $500,000, okay? So if you go in, and let's say you spend $1,300 a month on heating, cooling, and cleaning that closed corridor, times 12, that's $15,600, okay? So $15,600 subtracted from our net operating income, okay? Now let's say we do have a pool, okay? We go in, we have a pool, and let's say that swimming pool in itself with gas, chemicals, maintenance. Goodness, you guys ever hired a pool company? So let's say that pool company comes in, and let's say they take $500 a month to maintain that pool, okay? So $500, that's cheap, guys. That is super cheap. You know, in fact, man, I even feel guilty doing that. Let's do it like $700, right, to maintain that pool. They're coming weekly, guys, to maintain that, sometimes twice a week. So $700, plus you have gas, electric, and everything else. So you're going to spend at least another $1,000. So let's say you spend $2,000 between chemicals and everything every single month running that pool. So you have $2,000. That's another $24,000 times 12 to run that pool, okay? So it doesn't even include the cost to build it, right? Now, you're going to have a clubhouse. You have a cleaning person. You have electricity. You have heating and cooling. You got maintenance on that place. You got toilets. You got all of this stuff, right, that you have in there, coffee and whatever else you have in there. So let's say that you spend another $2,000 running your clubhouse. So that's another $24,000 a year, okay? Now, just those 3 items alone, let me give you a perfect example. And this is why we build affordable housing. Value equals your net operating income divided by your cap rate, okay? Cap rates right now are being underwritten at 6% because that's what interest rates are, like if you're doing a HUD loan or an FHA loan that is government-backed. Something with FHA and HUD are probably some of the most cost-effective loans that are available right now for stabilized assets. Okay, so we sit back and we say 6% cap rate, okay? So if our NOI is $500,000 divided by 6% without any of these amenities, we take $500,000 times or divided by 6%, 0.06, okay? That's a value of $8,333,000, okay? That's your value, okay? Now look at what these amenities do to this. You take that same $500,000 that you would have as an NOI. You subtract out the $15,600 minus $24,000 for the pool minus $24,000 for the clubhouse. That equals $436,000 reduction in NOI. Okay. Now let's take that same formula, value equals net operating income divided by 6%. We originally had, without those assets, $500,000. Now we subtract out the expenses. We take this NOI of $436,400 and we divide that by 6%. Ladies and gentlemen, you now have an asset value because of your amenities. You would think that it would add to the value, but because it takes off of your net operating income, assets are assessed based on revenue. And whatever takes from your revenue reduces the overall value of your asset is now $7,273,000. That is a difference of almost $1.1 million in total asset value reduction just based on those amenities. Okay, so let's say we do take a rent reduction. Okay, so if we have, what we typically do is we make them Class A trimmed out amenities so that way they go up against any other Class A assets. So let's say we take a $50 a month reduction in rent. Okay, if we have $500,000 NOI, that's probably only like a 25 or 30 unit apartment complex. So let's say it's 30 units, okay? So if we have 30 units minus $30 a month, it's called $50 a month, okay? So 30 times 50, that's $1,500 a month in rent reduction on the overall asset. Times 12, that's $18,000, okay? So we take it $18,000, we take $50 less a month in rent because we don't have the amenities. But how many people do you know out there would love to go in and take a $50? Let's get it better than that. Let's do $100, okay? So let's double that. So 18 times 2, because that's a $100 per month rent reduction. Now, there's a lot of people that $100 makes a massive, massive variance. If they're sitting back going, well, I'll go get a gym membership somewhere else because no one's using that gym anyways. They all go to the regular gym whether they live in an apartment complex or not. So it's an expense they're going to have nonetheless if they're really gym goers, okay? They are not using the swimming pool anyways. Most people are self-conscious. The people that aren't, they find means of utilizing swimming pools. So we take a $36,000 reduction in net operating income. So that would be $500,000 minus the $36,000 rent reduction that we're getting from this, right? That's a total of $464 in our NOI. Now, remember, we have $436 with the amenities. So when we go in here and now we had an original value of $8.3 million at $500,000, we had $7.2 million value with the amenities. Now let's take a look at the rent reduction value. So we take $464,000 net operating income divided by 6% cap rate. That's a $7.73 million value, okay? That's over $500,000 in excess in the valuation of that asset over what it would be worth with amenities, okay? So how could that be? The amenities should add value to it, right? No, they take away from your net operating income. So you have to understand that the higher your net operating income, the higher your value. The higher your expenses, the lower your net operating income. The higher your expenses, the lower your operating income. The lower your net operating income, the lower your value, okay? So understand that the key component in this game of underwriting is to minimize expenses and increase your net operating income for higher asset evaluation, for a larger value, for resale, for refinances, and for you to go out and assess a better cap rate for a larger value and a higher cash-on-cash return. And with all of that being said, ladies and gentlemen, on your next affordable housing investment, whether it's pre-existing or whether it's new construction, always take a look at how you can reduce your overall expenses without compromising the overall way the asset is ran and the overall way that that asset is stabilized. Ladies and gentlemen, net operating income always wins when you're assessing value. For more content just like this and to educate yourself on underwriting parameters that will go in and save you when looking at commercial assets or any type of multifamily asset, then click below, subscribe to our YouTube channel, smash that thumbs up button, give us some love. If you're watching this on repeat, then hashtag repeat in the comments section. And ladies and gentlemen, continue going out and compounding your success. I'm going to recommend a couple videos after this video to continue your real estate journey and your education in multifamily underwriting right after this video. Thank you guys, and God bless.